Let's start today with a humble brag. As you guys will have started to catch on over the last couple of weeks, I've been encouraging you to take a humble brag, a moment where you just recognize something awesome that you've done over the last 7 days. For me, for those of you who are watching on YouTube, you can definitely see I'm still in America. However, when this is being released, I am back in Australia, and I'm probably currently doing or facilitating our workshop right now. So I guess something that I'm proud of at the moment is we have 21 blokes, 17 of who I have never really met before, going away for the Fit on the Farm workshop, where we are helping them realign their personal and professional vision, setting the goals to help them become the best version of themselves, and having an awesome experience on the farm, thrown in a half marathon. So very pumped about that. And it's just great. I know it's going to be awesome being back in Australia. So I'm very excited. I'm actually flying out tomorrow, but hey, at the time of this is releasing, because I had to be organized, I had to preload a few episodes, I'm back in Oz, and I can tell you it's bloody good. So I would love to hear from you guys. What is something you have done well over the last 7 days? Now, today's guest, and in this conversation, what you can expect to learn with Jordan Ta'amu is faith, family, and football, what it was like growing up in Hawaii. Now, I've spent a bit of time in Hawaii. I absolutely love it. And when I come back to Nashville, we're going to be heading back to Australia again at the end of September, I think it is. We're stopping off in Hawaii for a couple of days, so I'm very excited to spend some more time around there. We're also going to be talking about chasing the NFL dream. Now, for those of you who aren't familiar with the National Football League and I guess American football, to even be considered to play or drafted to an NFL team is a huge deal. The population here is 300 plus million people, and they're vying for the spot in, I think, 32 teams of quarterbacks. There's obviously 32 quarterbacks, a couple of backups. So to be able to be drafted and put in that position is a big deal. And Jordan is aspiring to find himself listed with the team. You know, each year he's making massive progress. He was the player of the year in the UFL, which is the United Football League. So I've just forgotten it from the top of my head, but he's an incredible player who is playing with the DC Defenders. So some things that we also talk about is what it's like being on the fringe and what drives him. And it may be not what you're expecting. So that's enough from me. Let's dive into today's episode with Jordan. And remember, if you do love this episode, get value from it, take a moment to share it on your socials, tag me. It all helps get more, I guess, earbuds, and eyeballs on these episodes. Thank you guys for supporting the show. Without you guys, it wouldn't be happening. Cheers. Jordan, welcome to the show, man.
Yes, sir. Thank you for having me on. Dude, I'm so excited.
Yeah, me too, man. It's I feel like I know you, but I don't. You know, this is our first time connecting. We got a mutual friend, Justin or JT, who was on a couple of weeks ago.
Yep.
But even before I moved here, and I said it to Mac, I've said it to Justin, before I moved to Nashville, I was like looking at people who are around Nashville and friends of friends, because I was obviously coming here with no buddies. So I'm like, I need to find some fit people who are cool people who like golf and training and all that. And you popped up, and that's when I started following you. And then next minute, Justin's training you too. I was like, sick.
Look at that. What a small world, right?
Here we are, man. But you've had a very interesting career. You're playing. You just finished the season with the DC Defenders in the UFL.
Yep.
Which is merged with the XFL.
Yep.
It's confusing, but
yeah, it is confusing.
It's all good. But has football been something you always wanted to do?
Yeah, I mean, kind of just growing up in Hawaii, it was always kind of ingrained in me to play sports right away. And I think maybe when I was 4 or 5. I picked up the baseball for the first time. So baseball was my first love. And then following that was football. So, I mean, I've always been into it since I was younger. And I don't think I even had an off season. I was either playing football or baseball kind of my whole life up until college, where I chose one sport, which was football.
What made you choose the football?
I just knew I needed to, help my parents out. We didn't come from a lot, but I wanted to, go to a school where I felt appreciated, where it was a full ride, and I just wanted my parents to pay nothing. I just wanted them to come to my games, fly out, and just watch me and enjoy their son playing ball. And football was my only ticket. Unfortunately, I had to stop baseball. Kind of hurt, but I'm glad I stuck with it.
That's so cool. Yeah. So like the real motivator behind you was providing for family.
Yes, family is such a huge thing for me, especially, us Polynesians. Like, we always put family first, no matter what we do.
That's what I love about your culture. Like the Polynesian culture, man, is like big families.
Yep.
They are always supporting each other. They're always laughing together, always having a good time. It's such a beautiful culture.
Yep.
Let's like dive into the family life a bit before we move into the football.
Yeah.
What was it like growing up in Hawaii, obviously, and then playing baseball, playing football? Yeah. And then what else did you get up to around those times?
Yeah, just growing up in Hawaii, in paradise. I mean, I really didn't realize how much of a paradise I was in until I left. And, a lot of people try to come in, but when I was growing up, I was trying to get out. I was trying to, make a name for myself out there in the States because, all I've seen on TV was, a lot of people getting, famous off football or sports or anything. And I just wanted to get out and do that. So, but just growing up in Hawaii is so surreal. The food, the people, the weather, everything. Just the way I grew up. And, I grew up in a Christian home. Both my parents, kind of raised me and my siblings to grow up in the church. They are pastors. So they kind of installed faith in us when we were little. I don't know if you heard of the 3 Fs, but faith, family, and football. That's kind of our motto in Hawaii. Yep. And everyone kind of goes by that. So just being able to grow up there and kind of, represent with the tattoos, with the language, with the food barriers that we kind of show to the world. I mean, it's such a surreal feeling. I'm still showing my friends to this day that like, hey, like Spam is good, rice is good. We eat all this, amazing food. And
talk to me about Spam quickly, dude.
I love Spam. I mean, it's just been a staple since I was little. Yeah. And when I got to college, I was like, have y'all tried Spam? And they're like, ew, what is that? And I was like, probably the best breakfast you have in your life. Spam, eggs, rice, and that's all you need. And kind of just grew up around that and loved everything about it. We got some Spam musubi's, if you ever heard of it, and rice, Spam, and seaweed wrap, and probably one of the best snacks ever.
Dude, you're blowing a lot of Australians' minds right now because back home Spam is like, you don't touch it.
Yeah.
However, I've never tried it, so I could not confirm.
We have to cook you up.
Yeah, I'm gonna fucking test that out for sure because it's always been something that I avoided. So if it's good enough for you, man, I'm definitely gonna give it a crack.
Yeah, it's great.
But obviously for the family then being the motivator, what was it like for you in high school? Were you just the superstar standout all the way through, or what was that like?
Yeah, I mean, going into my freshman year, I wasn't named the starter, but, I knew I had the capability to become a starter. So that whole year, I would say my freshman year is the only time I sat, I would say, on the bench, kind of learning in front of our sophomore quarterback. And when it came to my sophomore year, he was a junior. That's when they were like, hey, Jordan, I think you have potential to, beat him out. And I'm such a competitive kid. I've always been since I was little. And I had that competitive mindset. And my coach gave me that opportunity to, take the starting job. I did. We went to championships. Unfortunately, we lost. But that was kind of like, all right, this is my moment to kind of shine in high school. And from there on, I kind of, took it and ran with it and been playing baseball and football back and forth. And I was like, you know what, I'm going to just give up baseball because I think football is my passion. And just being that guy in high school kind of felt good. I was really small, skinny, but felt like I had led my team to a lot of great wins, but would not have happened without, God and my coaches.
How do you deal with the pressure? Because the sport over here is phenomenal. Like probably in Hawaii as well, like just the amount of people you get to a game and like the cult like following behind the teams is something that I've never seen before. And I could not imagine what it's like to play in that.
Oh, it's insane. Especially
as a quarterback too, dude.
Quarterback, you got so much pressure on you. And, but I've always like my dad always said like, hey, like, block out every noise around you. Just focus on what's in front of you, your game, and let everything take care of itself. And, when I trusted and believed that, I went out there and executed, and it just felt like a backyard football. And, kind of just started having fun and started playing well, and everything just kind of started domino effect and led to where I am today.
Yeah, because I read a lot of your stats. Like you broke records and like had huge seasons with touchdowns, yards, and all of that sort of stuff. So it wasn't like you were just sort of cruising through. You were dominating. Yeah,
and I felt like that all happened because of the work I put in. I wasn't in high school. I was such a good kid where I wasn't going out. My parents wanted me home before the lights came on the streets. And, you know, I just didn't go to parties or any of that. I just kind of stayed to my lane, did what I needed to do, got in and got out, because I'm so glad I did, because, you know, most of my friends are, you know, they got kids. They're this is a high school. They got kids in high school.
That's wild.
You know, they're not like really pursuing the dreams that they wanted to pursue, which in sports. So I kind of made sure I kind of hung out with the guys with the similar goals as mine. And, you know, those guys, you know, went to college and didn't go as far as I did, but, you know, our tight group in high school kind of made me to where I am today too.
It's cool that you were able to distinguish the difference between the people who were just comfortable doing what they were doing. And look, there's nothing wrong with that, but as yourself being a driven individual, recognizing that you needed to get around those people to sort of push you to go further, to get to where you wanted to get to.
Yes.
What was it like the day that you got offered to go to college after all of those sorts of things?
Yeah. My first, you know, I got like a bunch of, you know, D2, D3 calls. And, you know, I was getting excited. This was like my first time kind of hearing college names pop up in my email, or giving me phone calls and talking to coaches, and felt so surreal. And, you know, none of them offered me a scholarship. University of Hawaii called. I got super excited. And
that was your dream, right?
That was my dream. I just wanted to go there so my parents can just, you know, easy drive, 30 minutes to come watch me play. And I was easy. But unfortunately, they're like, hey, like, we want to, you know, unfortunately our quarterback spot is filled up. We want you to walk on and play safety. And I was like, that's a whole different position. Like, I played safety before, but not at that level. And I just knew in myself, I believed that I was like a quarterback, and I didn't give up. And what was so crazy, this is the craziest story. My lineman was getting filmed. You know, he was getting recruited by this junior college, and in his highlight film, I'm in the background. And this junior college coach is like, who is this guy? Like, looked me up, saw I had 0 offers. So he was like, all right, let's give him a call. So he gave me a call, and he was like, hey, Jordan, like, what's your story and stuff? So I told him my whole story, and he's like, I think I'm going to fly out to Hawaii to watch you throw. And I was like, all right, let's do it. So he came out to watch me throw. He flew in from New Mexico. He watched me throw. As soon as I was done, went home, got the phone call that night. They're like, Jordan, like, we want to, you know, give you a full ride to New Mexico Military Institute. And they're like, I know it's a junior college, but, you know, there's a lot of other quarterbacks that, you know, went that route, you know, that went to the junior college route and, you know, succeeded. And they sent me all these quarterbacks' names. And right then and there, I was like, this is a sign. Like, there's I know my plan that God has made is like for me not to go straight away. I know there's going to be a roller coaster. I know it's going to be mountains and obstacles. And, you know, I can't be fortunate like a lot of guys to go to a 4-year right away. And I was like, maybe this is my path to take this junior college route. I've always said, like, my goal was to have my parents pay 0 money to go to college, and this was it. This was going to be the start of it. And right then and there, I called him right back. I said, Coach, I want to come there. I don't care. It's a military school. I'll shave my head bald. I'll do whatever I need to. Wear uniforms every day, and I'm bought in. Like, you're gonna have the hardest worker on your team. And hung up. And from then on, I kind of came on campus. Next thing I know, I'm shaved head. I'm bald. I'm walking around. I'm 175, soaking wet. I'm like no facial hair at all. Just kind of wandering around in Mexico, seeing tumbleweeds for the first time. I was like, where am I? Like, this is not the beach. This is not Hawaii. Like, and let me tell you, I was miserable that first year, but, you know, I trusted the plan, and that's what got me my first scholarship.
Dude, what a story, man. It shows the power of having a vision, like knowing that you just didn't want your parents to pay.
Right.
It helped you see that as an opportunity rather than almost like just a big no, and like and it's led you to where you are now. So I think for me, one thing that I'm big on is like knowing the direction that you want your life to go in, because it helps you formulate those next decisions.
100%.
And when you're doing things for your family, man, you can never go wrong with that.
Never.
So what was it like military school? You said it was a bit challenging, probably similar to me moving here. It's like challenging, making new friends, being in an unknown environment. But once you sort of get a bit of momentum happening, how was the football going there, and then what happened next? Yeah,
kind of like you were just moving away from family or like what you're comfortable with, and moving into an area where, you know, it's very uncertain, you know. So, you know, just going to New Mexico, it was Roswell, New Mexico, so it was like known for like Area 51, and like those were like alien town central, and there was a museum.
Really?
A million would go to that museum, and a million would leave disappointed, just because like I don't know, it just didn't relate. But it was crazy. First year it was definitely a struggle. Missed my parents, missed home, the food, just everything about it. But I stuck to it, and I knew I had a greater purpose. And unfortunately, my first season, right before we even started our first game, ended up getting hurt.
What'd you do?
I broke, or I thought, this is gonna be another crazy story. I thought I like tore my ACL, but they told me, hey, like you have a sprained MCL. And I was like, okay, like that's good, right?
Hold on, you thought you tore your ACL and they said you had a sprained MCL.
And they said I have a sprained MCL. We didn't do MRIs, nothing. Like this was my first time ever getting hurt, like first time seeing a doctor, first time going into like in a medical room. Like I never like done that before. And like, being like a 17-year-old kid in college, I just trusted him. So I was like, all right, it's a sprained MCL. Let's do this rehab. Let's get right. And let me tell you, I was up and ready in 2 months. So in 2 months, I like busted my butt, did whatever I needed to do. I was there like 3-4 times a day just trying to get right, just so I can play. Because if I can't make it out of this junior college, I'm done. Like there's no other way or option for me to go, because football, and that's all I knew. And when 2 months go by, and I'm like the second string quarterback now. And now like I would get jumped into this game, and now I'm like playing backup quarterbacks, and I get a couple games in, so that burns my red shirt. So there goes my red shirt. I'm 17 years old still. Now I'm 18 years old, going into my second season at this junior college, and I'm like, hey, like this is all or nothing. This is my second year here. I don't even know if I can have a third, because my red shirt's gone, and I got to leave it all out there on the field. First football game, I will never forget. This was at home against Air Force. I threw 8 touchdown passes, and 8.
That's like what most like get in a season, right?
It was that's a lot of guys get in a season. I threw 8 my first like ever starting, and like that's what kind of like sparked up kind of interest from different schools. They're like, who's this kid? He just threw 8 touchdown passes. I'm all over social media. Like I get like junior college player of the week. I'm getting all this attention. And I'm just like, all right, don't let this get to your head. Like, play your game, and let's see where this goes. So we start winning games, we start playing, and then Ole Miss was one of the first schools to kind of reach out to me. Coach Ben, I will never forget him. Agamua, he kind of hit me up, and he was like, hey, Jay, like, this is Ben from Ole Miss. Just watched your film. Just keep up the good work. Just know we have an eye on you. And that motivated me even more to become, I knew I had more in the tank. So I was like, all right, let's do this. Let's keep winning games. And by the end of that season, I ended up finishing, number 3 or around there, top 3 quarterbacks in the junior college that year. And, it was a blessing. And from there on, I got like a couple D1 offers, and Ole Miss and Minnesota was my top 2. But, that junior college route was insane. Made it out the mud. It was nuts.
What was it like, obviously, when you got that phone call? You said obviously it was motivating, but did you feel added pressure because you're on such a high? Like that game is a blinder.
Right. I felt a lot of pressure. I'm not going to lie. I was, still, 18, 19, and I was just like, oh my gosh, like SEC, like that's been my dream. Also, just to play in the SEC if it wasn't Hawaii. So, just to kind of hear that from a coach and just know that he's watching. I had to pray every day. I had to make sure I was reading my Bible. I knew exactly what I needed to do to, get in those right steps and move forward.
Because it almost gets a little bit more daunting. Like when you're so close to achieving what you've always dreamed of, because then you start thinking, I hope I don't mess this up. Whereas when it's maybe a little bit further away, like I got a bit of wiggle room to achieve that. And that's from my experience as well, where it gets a bit daunting. Then what does has it changed over time, but like your routine and prep? So an average training week, what were you doing extras to sort of get above and beyond? And especially as a quarterback, like you got to be sharp, you got to be reading the play well, you got to be obviously a pump arm as well.
That junior college prepared me a lot, not only education wise, but the coaches there, they treated us like family. I'll never forget Coach Thatcher and Coach Fortuner. They, brought me into the office. We've done a lot of film review. We've done 2-minute drills like on this little like a clipboard that's like a field. We had a quarter kind of with the ball and like situational footballs. And, that kind of prepared me, for the situations I've had like throughout my whole football career. And, just going there and went to class in the morning, right after class or like lunch, I would go right into the film room with my coach. We would watch film. Then I'll go right back after lunch. Then I'll go right back to classes. After classes again, then we would have actual meetings. So I always wanted that head start of like, all right, let me learn something. Let me go and, do my classes and stuff. And on my free time, let me look at those plays or let me look at to see what I needed to work on. And then when I go back to practice in the late afternoons, I already know exactly what I need to work on, or they're kind of repeating everything twice. So now it's in my head already. All right, now it's kind of installed in me. Now I just have to go out there and execute it in practice, because if I do it in practice, I'm going to do it in the game, and that's always been my mindset. So after practice, kind of go, shower, then I would go in there and film review while everyone goes back to their dorm or to their room. I'll film review on what I, missed during practice, and, I'll take that with me to bed, kind of, look at it before I go to bed. If I need to, like, fix something, or if there was a play I messed up on, I made sure, like, I always, kind of went back and looked at it, and kind of went back to bed and kind of did the same thing for 4 days until it was ready for game.
That's incredible.
Yeah.
I think there's a lot of research around doing that now as well. Like any problem that you have or things that you want to get better on, spending a bit of time before you go to sleep, and then like your subconscious starts doing whatever it does while you sleep, and then you wake up and you're like,
Sometimes you dream about it. I don't
literally.
know, just like you dream about your mistakes or how you fixed it, and next thing you know, it's in your head. Even for tests. I mean, I've always just like, all right, study right before I go to bed, and it's in my head while I'm sleeping, and then when I wake up, I go out there and ace it.
I think that's where you beat me then. I didn't study too much, unfortunately. But then, so your first year at Ole Miss, what was that like? Obviously, going from, so it was the junior to
college.
D1. Like, what was the main differences in the setup and the way the programs were run?
It was a huge change. Just, going from, having a bedtime to
because it was a military school.
So I had to wear my uniform, had to make sure my shoes were shined, my bed was squared away, everything in my room was polished, clean. I'm such a neat guy now because of it. And like, the discipline that they installed in me is still in me today. And just how I dress or how I go about myself and carry myself is all because of that junior college experience. But, the difference between that and Ole Miss was just the free time I had. Yeah. At Ole Miss, there was so much free time. I didn't have structure like how I did at that junior college, but, that's where you become a man, is where you establish your own structures. Like when you create your own schedule, when you do things that others ain't doing. And when I got to Ole Miss, it was just such a surreal feeling of like, dang, this is a college. Like I'm walking around, there's pretty girls. Like, I don't know. It was just like everything was in my way. Like, so I was just like,
filled with distractions.
Yes, filled with distractions. I was in the South, and what made me choose Ole Miss was that Southern hospitality. Yeah, the love, the family. So getting back to the family thing, and family means a lot to me, and they treated me and my family very well, and it felt like family. So I committed there, and it was such a surreal and crazy feeling.
How did you block out the distractions? Because I know a lot of people struggle with that. They've got an idea of things that they want to achieve, and most people know what they should be doing to do that, but then life gets in the way. So how do you, or what do you think made you different?
Yeah, I think it was just kind of the way I grew up. So I was kind of hesitant about everything. So I kind of made sure I hung out with the right friends again. Made sure I was going to bed on time. Like sleep was super huge to me, but also I had my fun moments. It's college, so I was out there and about and having my fun moments, but at the same time, I knew when to lock in. And, off season, that's when we put in the work, and I got there that spring. So that's when I was, putting in that work to make the team or even start. And, before I got to that campus, they told me, they're like, hey, we have a 5-star quarterback in front of you. So we don't know if you're going to start, but we want you to like prepare every week like you are. You will be our second string guy. So just be ready at any given moment.
What's it like having to, and so were you on scholarship then as well?
I was,
yeah. So it's still aligning with your vision, but what's it like having to put in all the work and just waiting for your opportunity?
Yeah, I mean, it's just been such a that was a crazy feeling, just kind of waiting. And, I've always, referred back to, God having a plan and, my favorite scripture. So it's just always, it was just always like, all right, Jordan, like when your time has come, like you got to go out there and make it and get the best, make the most out of it, basically. So I've always just trained and always knew like, hey, my time's going to come. And once my opportunity comes, I'm going to go out there and chase it and let nobody get it from me. That was my mindset.
That's so sick.
Yeah.
And obviously then from a couple of years at Ole Miss was the goal to go into the draft and do all of that sort of thing. That's generally the next step.
Yes. My goal was like, since I was little to always play in the NFL. Marcus Mariota was one of my, role models growing up, and just watching him play. A lot of people say we play similar alike, and I took that very, very heavy. I was like, damn, do I really? Like, let me just read option. Let me just throw in the run. Let me do all of this. So just having that role model, just being another guy from Hawaii, I've also wanted to give that. I wanted to also be a role model to the kids at home. Like, hey, like you don't have to go to a 4-year right away. You can start at this junior college. You can work your way up to the next level. But my goal was to always get to the NFL. And from Ole Miss, what was crazy is how I got the starting job was a LSU game, 8 p.m. in Oxford, Mississippi, where, we're halfway through the season and the starter gets hurt. And that's when they're calling my name. They're like, Jordan, get out of here. So I'm running to the field, warming up.
What was that moment
butterflies.
like? Yeah.
I had butterflies in front of, I don't even know how many people were in the stands. What was crazy, you know how crazy God works? My parents were in the stands that game. They came to that one and only game. They just wanted to come to a SEC game, and they chose that game. And for me to jump in there second quarter and, do what I did and kind of earn my starting job, it was so crazy and so surreal. And it's crazy how God, put that all together. It was for my parents to witness that.
Did you obviously you've had a chat with them since then. What was it like for them being there to witness that?
It was crazy. They didn't know I was going to play. Nobody knew I was going to play. And they're like, who is this number 10 guy coming in? And I just go in there. I, referred back to my training. I was like, I was made for this moment. I trained my whole life. I, prepared every week, like the coaches said, to just in case this opportunity may come. And the opportunity came, took advantage of it, and went out there and started throwing the ball left, right, started running. Everyone's like looking like, oh my gosh, this guy can play. And I was like, I told y'all I can play. Like I had it in me this whole time. Just give me the opportunity. That's all I need, and that's all I wanted. And God gave it to me, and my parents were just like so proud of me after the game. Another blessing after that game, I come home to a new truck in my front yard. My parents surprised me with it, for all the hard work I put in, and it was crazy going from not starting to my parents in the stands to going home to a new truck, and then having my friends and family there kind of celebrating with me at my own house was crazy.
Well, so obviously the success of that moment as well, coming home to the new truck, family around.
Right.
Was it back to work the next day, or did it sort of have this honeymoon effect?
I think it was like a honeymoon effect.
Yeah.
We had the whole weekend. I think it was a Saturday game. So like we had that, Saturday night, then we had Sunday off, and then Monday was kind of like an easy day, and then Tuesday back to work. So got to like, damn, like I was laying in bed, Saturday night, like I can't believe this is happening. Like, God, you answered my prayers. Like this is amazing. So, and then once Tuesday came, I started I went to the practice field. And usually where the starters go, I wasn't going there. I was going to like where the second string goes. And they're like, hey, Jordan, you got to go over there. You were the starters now. And I was like, oh, yeah, I forgot. So it's like they had a whole camera crew out there.
Really?
It was crazy.
Being a starter, like what is the differences there at training? Obviously, you said camera crew and all that sort of stuff, but
just having the cameras in front of you at practice, going to interviews after practice. And it was so many cameras in your face, and I'm just like, dude, this is crazy. They're like walking to the camera. They're like, Jordan, what do you think they're gonna ask you? I'm like, I was young, like I didn't know how to talk. I was like, I don't know. They're probably gonna ask me how I'm feeling about the starting job. So I was just like super nervous, but at the same time, excited about that, journey that I was about to go on. So it was just different. Just everything's different when you're a starter in practice. Everyone kind of relies on you and looks at you for, leadership and
you just get thrown into
thrown
leadership.
into it.
Yeah.
Yes.
What was the added pressure that you experienced, and how did you go about handling that, especially stepping into that leadership role? Because you're the quarterback, right? You run the show essentially.
Very hard for me. I'm such a soft-spoken guy, but at the same time, like I do love leading and I'm competitive. Like my leadership, how I show leadership is through example. Yep. Like, hey, follow me because I'm doing it right. But I had to step out of my comfort zone. I had to tell guys, hey, let's pick it up. Let's do this right here. Let's move the ball fast. And that's what we're known. We're a fast offense. And I made sure that every time I touched the ball that, we were making a positive play and moving fast. And I made sure, everything was, flowing exactly how the coaches wanted. And, that was our level to success is, playing within the system, doing what I needed to do to lead and executing.
And how did you know you were ready to sort of go to the draft? Is there because there's obviously a timeline,
right,
when you have to declare, but was there a moment when you're like, yep, I'm ready to go?
During my senior year, I thought I had a great showcase for myself, and kind of put everything out there on the field. I wish we had a better, record going, finishing that year, but unfortunately we didn't. We didn't have a bowl game at all because of the sanctions that we had. Yep. We had 2 years bowl uneligible.
Why is that?
We had some altercations with our coaches before I got there.
Yep.
So they're once our coach resigned from being head coach, then we got these allegations against us and 2 years bowl ban, and a lot of guys left. But the guys who stayed, wanted to stay and build the program and wanted to, finish their ball at Ole Miss, and that's what I wanted to do. And so I was in my last year there at Ole Miss and, got invited to the combine. That was amazing. And this is another crazy story, is that at the combine, they were feeling on top of my knee. Remember when I said I hurt my knee my freshman year? MCL strain. I figured it out. They're like, hey, we got to take you to MRI. Your knee's kind of loose. And I was like, okay, it's been loose for 4 years, but I've been playing on it and running and cutting, doing everything under the sun on my knee. And they're like, all right, let's go to MRI. Let's check it out. I come out of the MRI and they said I had a torn ACL. And I was like, are you kidding me? I felt this my freshman year when I was 17 years old, 2015, and it's 2019 now when I'm at the combine. I said, this doesn't affect me and stuff. I'm still running faster than most guys. And
that's incredible that you perform so well with a torn ACL.
The doctor was like, dude, this is insane that you're, cutting the way you do, you're running the way you do, because most guys can't do that without an ACL. And here you are, a living miracle, walking miracle, just even running on it. You know what I mean? So to be able to do that is just insane, and just tells you how powerful God is, and to do that all 4 years, and that sadly, dropped my draft stock a lot.
Yeah. Did you end up having surgery on it, or
no surgery at all? I wanted to play right away. I just didn't know what to do. I felt fine. I'm still fine to this day.
So you literally haven't had surgery on it since?
Never had surgery on it. 2015, what is it, 2024?
Yeah, nearly 10 years.
Yeah, and I've been fine. Nothing's been a problem with it, and that's what scares a lot of teams is, a guy that's already hurt or a guy that, has something torn.
Yep.
Even though I said many times and passed a lot of physicals and that it doesn't affect me. So I didn't get drafted that year.
What was that like, not being drafted?
It was crazy. I was in Hawaii at the time watching the draft with, my family. I had my grandma there, had, cousins, mom, dad, brother, sisters, and was just waiting for my name, waiting for a call, and had my phone next to me, and we watched all 3 days and nothing. And, not only lie, I cried a little bit in my room, and I was like, dude, this can't be happening right now. And then I get a phone call from my agent, and he was like, hey, we got 2, rookie invites. Do you want to take it? And I was like, God, if this is your stepping stool to help me get back into it, then let's do it. So I told him, hey, let's do it. I want to continue playing. And
is there a moment there where you sort of felt like pulling the?
I don't know. I just didn't want to give up.
Yep.
didn't want to throw in the towel. I never had that, like, you know, that doubt in my mind. But, right, I mean, as soon as the draft ended, reality hit me quick. I need to figure something out. But, you know, I wasn't thinking about that. I was, you know, mixed with emotions. And when my agent said I got these 2 rookie mini camps, I made the most out of it, and, you know, got the call later, and Houston signed me to their team. So I was the first, that was my first, you know, kind of pro experience. NFL experience was with Houston during the preseason.
What was that like?
It was crazy. I mean, they got me in there like 1 week before preseason. So I was like trying to learn the plays, and a guy coming from college to the NFL and trying to learn those plays. Like,
how big's the
playbook's pretty big, but for the preseason, they like try to like slim it down for you. But coming in a week before a game and then trying to like learn all that plays and the verbiage, and a person from going to no huddle to a huddle, kind of have to go in the huddle and like saying the play and like kind of hearing it in your mic and saying it out loud, and then, all right, now visualizing it, now say it to the rest of the team, now go out there, see the defense. A lot was spinning was in my mind, and I just turned 21 too. So 21-year-old out there just trying to, you know, learn the best I can and study and show the coaches that I belong here, and did the whole preseason. Unfortunately, got cut after that preseason. You know, they're only keeping 3 quarterbacks, but felt like I've left a good impression. And that was 2019.
Was that hard being cut?
It was very hard.
Yeah.
Very hard being cut, especially for the first time. I mean, they're like, hey, like, there's these grim reapers walking around, which is just like people in the office. Like, once they grab you, like, then you know, like, all right, I'm about to get cut.
It's just a brutal business, right?
It's brutal. I mean, I've got cut so many times from many teams, and it's just not a good feeling every time it happens.
What keeps you going? Like, what's?
Yeah, I mean, just the ability to, you know, play a boys' game, just to have fun and to, you know, do this for a living, and to continue to show kids, you know, especially in Hawaii, that like, hey, you can do it if I did it. You know, just I love motivating people. I love sharing my story and my journey and how it can affect your life, and not only to kids but to young adults. And it doesn't have to be with sports. It can be with, you know, work, with school. And that's so cool about my story, is that, you know, when opportunity comes, you got to take the most and take it and, you know, make the most out of it. And, you know, if I had a book, it would be titled Opportunity, because how many opportunities I had and I took advantage of it. And now I'm just waiting for the next.
So good. Just being ready for whatever those moments are. You've got such a resilient mindset, and your perseverance is incredible. Like, I just think about so many people that I know through sports growing up, and even myself, I pulled the pin at the first being cut from a team, and just say I'd have a tantrum because I was 21 and didn't know how to handle things, and I didn't have a bigger vision. For me, it was just I wanted to be famous and get paid to play footy.
Right.
But your ability to continue going back to why you're doing it in the first place and just overcoming adversity is incredible. Like, really, really inspiring. For you now, so you're 26 or
26, yes.
Still young, man. I'm 33. I remember when I was 26, I was like, man, I'm old. But now, so I would kill to go back to 26.
Right. I feel old right now, but my body feels so young.
Yeah. Oh, man. You're killing it. But Kurt Warner went through XFL, right? Like, I was watching
he did like a arena league.
Sorry,
and
arena
then,
league.
Yeah, and then got back into it.
And it was one of the greats from that. So that's like
the greatest show on tour.
Yeah. Yep. So it's going to be awesome to continue following the things that you're working towards. So what does your off season look like now? Because you've just finished. We didn't even dive into where you went next after being cut.
Yeah. I mean, if you want to go into it,
I'd love to, man. Yeah.
After being cut, that was 2019, and then 2020, the XFL came out, and that's, you know, Vince McMahon, you know, kind of bought the league, and, you know, I was like, wow, this is cool. Like, my agent called me and said, this could be a good opportunity for us, and I was like, how crazy is it that it aligned to like when I graduated too? So it was perfect. So, you know, St. Louis hit me up, and they were like, hey, Jordan, like, we want you to be our quarterback. You know, we had a little stint with, you know, the Houston, Houston Texans, and, we're excited about the way you play. We want you to be our starting quarterback. So I was like, yes, let's do it. Signing bonus, everything. And then signed that. And when I got there in December, I remember all these other quarterbacks that were on other teams were either in the NFL or they've played a lot in the NFL. So just me being the only college guy coming straight out of college was kind of humbling. So it was very, very unique. And I was just like, okay, this is now I need to make a name for myself because all these guys already have names. I need to make my name for myself. And, St. Louis brought me in with open arms, got a good following from them before the season even started. They're like, how did they know how I even play? I haven't even played a snap yet.
That's so good.
St. Louis was amazing town. My first game there, just playing, we played actually in Dallas, and, that stadium was packed out, and we got so many views. Damn, spring football is back. So everybody was watching, and, balled out that game and won. Then we got to play in St. Louis, and let me tell you, St. Louis was jumping. It was, I don't know. I think we had 30,000 people in the lower bowl, and then 40,000 on the top, and then they were just kind of building. Sucks that COVID kind of shut it down, but getting that opportunity and playing there, I played super well, super efficient, and knew that all right, after this I'm gonna get another opportunity. And St. Louis did good to me with the XFL. COVID hit, and straight from COVID, I got a call from, the Kansas City Chiefs that same year, 2020. And, Andy Reid was on the phone, and I was like, hey, coach, he's like, hey, Jordan, we want to sign you to our team. Let's get you rolling. You're going to be here for rookie minicamp, so can't wait to meet you. And hung up the phone, and I was super ecstatic. And going from St. Louis to Kansas City right there was crazy.
What a roller coaster.
Yeah.
A roller coaster.
Yeah, it was nuts.
Oh, man. And what was it like at Kansas City?
It was awesome. Just being able to meet, Patrick Mahomes and Travis Kelce and Tyreek Hill when he was there, and then Chad Henne, which is the backup quarterback. Yeah. So just having those guys and just kind of meeting them and kind of going into it, I was just on the practice squad, so I was always, working, but the quarterbacks kind of got in the same time. So kind of felt like my junior college schedule. We would get in before everybody, but with no classes though. We came in with everybody.
Yeah.
Or we came in, with all the quarterbacks. Before everyone got there, we would study our plays or whatever we had that day. Then we would go eat breakfast, and then after breakfast would be team meeting, and then we would have an offensive meeting. Then we would kind of go over the same things that we went over as quarterbacks in the morning. Yep. So now it's our second time kind of hearing it and seeing it. All right, now we should get very familiarized with it. And then we would go out there, lunch, a short little snack, lunch, then practice. And then from practice, after practice, we would have meetings again. And then the quarterbacks would stay later just to watch film for the next day. So it kind of felt like my junior college year. I'm like, oh, okay, this is cool. And just being able to learn and see, Patrick Mahomes and Chad Henne, their work ethic was amazing. Just the way they hold themselves, the way they lead, the way they carry themselves around the locker room and treat others, even the equipment guys. I mean, it kind of showed me that no matter who you are or how high you get in life, always treat, everyone the same. And they've done that. They welcomed me with open arms. We joke around, we laugh, and, created a bond like no other. So just being there was awesome.
Yeah. Did you find, you mentioned when you first went to the Texans, it was really hard to get your head around the huddles and the plays really quickly. Did you feel like you'd grown and improved on that?
I feel like I've grown a lot on that just because I had a true, whole preseason to kind of learn everything instead of getting jumped into the fire a week out. You know what I mean? So being able to learn and kind of have coaches be there hey, this is the play. This is what we're doing. Here's the concept. And this is why we say the play. And then here's what you need to do on the play. It would have wide receivers, running backs, quarterbacks, O-line, and it would tell each position what they have to do.
Yep.
And it told me exactly what I needed to do, how many steps I need to take for my drop back, my progressions. So it became so much easier just being, with that organization.
That's so cool. And
Yeah.
obviously over the next couple of years, you've been in practice squads
Yep.
and then back in the XFL and now the UFL.
Yeah.
What do you feel are like the main things from feedback from teams and even just what you understand and know about yourself that you need to work on, or like what opportunity do you feel you need to showcase your talent?
Yeah, I mean, for me, I just always, need that one opportunity again. And, all the spring league from the USFL, gave me an opportunity. The XFL last year gave me an opportunity. And then the UFL again this past season gave me an opportunity. So each time I try to get better, if it's, reading the defense or if it's, my mechanics or if it's my footwork. And, I felt like each year, I'm always, setting a goal for myself to finish first in passing yards and first in completions and first in all of that. So I've always set a goal for myself and always held myself to a high standard because I know I can reach it. And, some people say you got it or you don't. And I believe in myself. My parents believe in me. I believe in God. So it's like everything kind of aligns the way it needs to or it should be.
Do you feel the self-beliefs come from the reps that you've put in, like in how you conduct yourself, or where has it come from?
I think it honestly comes from definitely the reps. The confidence in myself comes from the reps and comes from, my training. When I'm out here in Nashville, I train to, become one of the best like quarterbacks in that league. And if that's, throwing 3 times a week and working out 5, then that's what I need to do. But everything, has a goal and everything you got to make a plan for that goal.
And the offseason, you got player of the year last year, right? You cleaned up.
Right.
What was that experience like? Obviously seeing your hard work pay off and the recognition coming from that.
It was awesome. I last year when I winning that MVP and
that
was huge.
Like, for the Aussies that listen to this, it's such a big sport. Like the population of America is 350 plus million people. So to even be in the league is like let's just call it 1%.
1%.
Not even
Yeah.
like, so you're already significant and then you're getting the MVP. Like that is incredible.
Yeah. Winning that I didn't even know I was going to win that until, they played a video on the screen and, I saw my pastor up there congratulating me. And then I see my parents and my friends and family.
What's happening?
Yeah. I was like, so surreal. I was like in the middle of like chewing some like fruit roll up or something like that. And I was like watching the screen and I said, oh my gosh, this is happening. I wasn't lost in words. And, I was super grateful for that trophy and, getting all the way to the championship and having a winning record. I mean, that was such a great feeling to have and would not have done it without the team, without my family.
Man, it's awesome. And what does postseason and preseason look like for you now? So obviously you're in the off season until what, like December?
Hopefully till December, yeah. Yep. Or right now, my whole goal is to kind of get back into the NFL.
Yep.
And they're on a 5-week break right now, and I want to get back into.
Does that feel like a lifetime?
It feels like a long time. I'm like, damn, now I gotta wait. But at the same time, it's like, all right, this is good because I just got done with the season. Now I can rest my body. My body's good. Got beat up this past season, but I'm still standing, still running around. So what my off season looks like is kind of train these next couple of weeks. Hopefully, I get a call, for the preseason and all that, and hopefully I can stick to a team.
Yep.
But you always have to have a plan. If that doesn't happen, I'm gonna keep training this fall, and hopefully go back to the UFL again to make another name for myself, to make another stand, to prove to everyone that I can still play and that I'm still doing it.
Do you have like a manager or someone who's actively out there trying to negotiate with teams? And stuff?
He's working for me right now. I do have an agent, so without him, being on those teams would not be possible. But he's working right now, or he should be. So
yeah, it's like he's literally just get back to work. But it's exciting to see all the hard work pay off, but then also get I guess for me, an inside scoop, because I remember watching quarterback, and I'd never really followed American football beforehand. Like I'd watched Brady a few times back home, but NFL's growing, and now when I watch quarterback, you start to see the lives of people, and then I started seeing that quarterbacks not only have to play incredibly well, but the study that they do and how meticulous they are, and I became obsessed with it. had my first fantasy league this year, which was awesome.
That's a great show, by the way, to kind of give that inside scoop
dude.
of a quarterback's life. Everyone was texting me like, "Damn, this is what you have to go through." Or
I would have never thought it. I thought it's like rock up a training, collect a couple of $100 million a year, like pretty good lifestyle. But obviously, there's a lot of hard work to be at the top of that as well. The goal for you moving back forward, what do you feel the biggest challenge is that you're going to be facing over the next couple of weeks moving forward?
Yeah, I mean, the biggest challenge I would say is motivating myself.
Yep.
Motivation is such a hard thing for a lot of people out there.
Yeah.
And, if you can create a schedule, if you can maintain a fit lifestyle and know that, eating healthy, I mean, all that comes into, being disciplined and knowing what goes into your body and what, we're getting older. And I have to stretch a lot now, a lot more than I've used to. So kind of taking all that seriously now, like if that's, doing yoga, if that's doing Pilates, just doing all the muscle work that I usually don't work to kind of maintain that. And, I got to make sure I have that discipline, waking up early and getting enough sleep and putting the right things in my body. And I think that's going to be the hardest thing for me these next couple of weeks.
And how do you go cope, or not even coping, but dealing with obviously the time away from family? You were saying it's a bit challenging for you to go back to Hawaii during this off season because you've got to be working and waiting for that call. Yeah.
So, I mean, I try to go back once or twice a year to kind of see my family, my siblings, my nephew. So just going back, I try to plan around, the holidays where, all right, I can let loose a little bit. I don't have to worry about training or working or doing any of that. So I try to go back, every Christmas and New Year's. I feel like, spending Christmas time with your family is one of the best gifts of all. And that's what I want to do every year, and that's what I plan on doing. So it's definitely tough. Good thing we have FaceTime. I mean,
dude, it's so good. Hey?
It's so nice. So I try to FaceTime them a couple times a week, but they know I'm doing well. They know I'm working, and I try to leave them and let them be as well. But at the same time, like family means everything.
Yeah, man, that's awesome. Yeah. Well, Jordan, I really appreciate you coming on the show, dude, and I also look forward to getting some training sessions in and continuing to get to learn more about you. And hopefully, mate, I'm genuinely excited to watch your journey unfold because from what Justin's told me about you, and obviously having a few texts back and forth on Instagram and watching your work ethic, but also seeing your work prove incredible results, dude. I can't wait to see you named in the NFL.
Yes, sir. Thank you so much for having me. And I'm so happy to, share my journey and my story on this podcast, and can't wait to see it out.
Cheers, brother.
Cheers.
Thank you.